this is going to be another bow making video. A super simple bow making video. This is like, I guess you could call it a fake hand bow for people who can't make hand bows but like the look of hand bows, which do look slightly different than a bow maker bow. This is just an easier way to do it for people who either can't hold the ribbon in their hand or don't have a bow maker to hold everything together, or just need a quick and easy way to make a bow. Basically, to figure out how much ribbon to cut, you take the width that you want your bow to be. So my bow is going to be about 6 inches wide. So then you double that and add 2 inches. So this is, I cut 4 pieces at 14 inches, and then the next layer of ribbon of loops is going to be an inch smaller. So I cut 4 pieces at 13 inches and then 4 pieces at 12 inches. And then for your centerpiece, you're going to need about an 8 or 9 inch strip. And then my tails, this is like about a 34 inch piece of ribbon. Just what was left on the roll, I just dovetailed the ends, and that's it. Alright, you're also going to need a stapler. Any kind of stapler will work. Some staples, of course. A pipe cleaner, so you can attach your bow when you're done. And a little zip tie for your knot. This one's about 4 inches, 5 inches, and some bigger zip tie. I go ahead and grab a couple while I'm doing this, because I tend to break them. And I use a zip tie gun to cut my zip ties. But if you don't have that, you can use wire cutters or scissors. I mean, anything will work. So it's really easy. You just take your first set of loops and you fold it around, overlap it maybe like an inch or an inch and a half. You put a staple on each side. I don't even know how much I've overlapped. I just make a big loop. Doesn't have to be perfect, as long as they're similar. By the time you get them all fluffed up, you won't be able to tell the difference unless there's a huge difference. But then you just move that to another layer of the bow. Try to keep them in separate piles so I don't end up with some of the small ones in the back and the bigger ones in the front, but if I get them mixed up, then I just twist it around until they're where I want them to be. Again, super easy. You really can't mess it up. So you're just going to have a bunch of little loops like this. Now for me, you can start with bigger loops and have a ton of bows in one bow. For me, for the size bow I'm making, it's just 2 of each size per bow because they're not all that big. I'm just making 2 small bows. But if you were making a huge bow, like a tree topper bow, you would want to put that, you would want to start with, 24-inch pieces of ribbon, or, 20-inch pieces of ribbon. Big, huge pieces of ribbon. Okay. So you just take 2 pieces of each size, flatten it down, just kind of scrunch it up the middle so you know where your middle is, and so it's already started with the scrunch. And then with your center loop, you're going to overlap it. I'm going to say, what is that? About 2.5 inches. And put your staples, spread them apart, because you're going to run a zip tie through here. So that when you zip tie it, your zip tie will be hidden in the middle. Now, you have the option of zip tying this closed first with a little zip tie so that it holds it together, and then putting your big zip tie on. But I'm just going to run my big zip tie through the middle. Now, I'm making small ones because this is scraps of ribbon and I'm going to use it on a project for something else. So you just scrunch up your pieces, and you just stack them up. One thing you can do is just pinch right in the middle. Just stack them up, spread them out. Just keep stacking them. And if you want to, you can go ahead and put a little tiny, like those little tiny hair ties. Some people put little hair ties on them, or they pinch it together and staple it. I don't do all that. So I just take a zip tie like this, put it around the middle, close it in the back, before I cinch it all the way down, I go ahead and make sure that my loops are all even. There's not more of one ribbon on one side than the other, things like that. This is going to be just like a little puff ball when I'm done. So I turn it over, pull it as tight as I can, then I use my zip tie gun to tighten it even more and cut it off. You don't want to completely smash it down, but if you smash it down a little, it is fixable. You stick your fingers in there, puff it up a little. These make super cute gift bows if you're doing, just a bow on instead of wrapping or things like that. Now this loop is this center loop is a little bit large. Let me make that smaller. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. You just do it. practice with some scraps or some, this ribbon I think came from Paper Mart, but you can get wired ribbon just about anywhere. Get it while it's on sale, like at Hobby Lobby when it's half price, or on clearance after the season. Use that for your practice ribbon so you don't waste your expensive ribbon on practicing. And take it apart and put it back together as many times as you need to. Most ribbons you can wet them and then iron them straight and then let them finish drying. Like I iron mine till, when I mess up on a bow or something, I iron it till it's damp, let it finish air drying, and then it's like a brand new piece of ribbon. You can make this if you're doing bows for a wedding or a chapel, you know, an event at a chapel, things like that. You can use these to make pew bows or chair bows at a wedding or reception. You would just use larger pieces of ribbon. Take your total size that you want your bow to be, however big you want it to be, and double that and add 2 inches. The 2 inches is for your stapled area, but it just makes these poof ball bows. And the bigger your bow is, the more sets of loops you're going to need. So if I were doing like a pew bow or a tree topper bow, I would do 4 or 5 sets of bows per size, so that there were a lot of loops in there to fill it in. But this one, these two are going to be small bows. And they're just going to be these little tiny puffball bows. Super cute little bows. Now you can take, that's obviously too much tail, but it'll have long tails. I can trim it later. So this is just the scrap of the, whatever was left on the roll for this ribbon, whatever was left on the roll, that's what I used for the tails. I also forgot to cut another loop. So find your center, make sure this looks like what you want it to look like. So that's what this is going to look like. So you just take, you can take another zip tie, you can use your pipe cleaner, put it through the center. This is the point after you've fluffed it, you don't want to smash it to the table. So you just run your pipe cleaner through the center, turn it over, pull it really tight, give it a twist or two, then you lay your tails in here. Helps if I get them the right way. You can set it down, just don't smash it to the table, because you've already done your fluffing. Give it a twist or two. Or you can put your tails on before you twist the pipe cleaner the first time. It's up to you. But then you end up with this cute little puffball bow. They're good for packages. They're good for small wreaths. Whatever you need. This was some scrap ribbon that I had left over. It's got velvet polka dots, and they leave like red fuzz on everything, so I can't use it for a project that I'm going to sell, so I'm using it for a gift that I'm making. So that's it. That's your cute little puffball bowl. You just measure out your ribbons. You know, for something small, you need 2 loops for each layer. For something large, you would need 4 or 5 loops for each layer. You overlap it, and don't forget to add the 2 inches. You overlap it by about 1 inch, put a staple on each side, and then when you've got them all together, you just flatten them, and then pinch it. You can use clips to hold them once you get them all pinched. You can make you a little, this is the bow maker I keep in my bag. I have a lot of doctor's appointments and therapy, and so when I'm sitting in waiting rooms and things like that, I tend to pull out my supplies and make bows. This is the little bow maker I keep in my bag to take with me. So you can make one of these. I mean, it's just a block of wood with 2 pieces of dowel. My first one was made with 2 pencils. My husband just took a scrap of wood, drilled 2 holes in it, and I stuck 2 pencils in it, and that's all it was. But you can, and if you want to, if you're using something to hold it, let me go ahead and cut like a piece off of here for the center. Dovetail my ends. So if you want to do it this way, if you want something to hold it, you can find the middle of your tails, go ahead and put that in. Scrunch all this together. Put that in. You can turn them different directions. Actually, that was a medium size. Let's put a large one in first. Again, by the time you get all your loops in, if they're not perfect, it's okay as long as they're somewhat even. Just keep stacking them in there. Sorry, I keep getting off camera. Just keep rotating them around. So I just kind of fold mine in half so I know if my loops are about even. Stick that in there. Just keep doing that. Okay, once you get all that smashed down, right in the middle, put your fingers under the bow and slide it up. Then I put 2 fingers on either side of the post, my thumb on top, and just slide it up till I'm holding it all in my hand. Then I take the tail of the zip tie and pass it between those 2 fingers. I don't know if you can see that. Just slip it right through there, and then I pull it around and hold this little, the locking end with my thumb. Slip that under my thumb. Push the zip tie through. This is all white, so this might be hard to see. But I push the zip, let me see if I can lower this light. See if that helps any. Push the zip tie through. Before I tighten it down completely, I twist it around to the back. Make sure that it's centered. Slide it over if you need to. Make sure your loops are fairly even. They don't have to be perfect. Turn it around to the back. If you want your tails to stick straight out to the side, go ahead and leave them out to the side. But before you zip your zip tie, if you want them to hang down, you need to go ahead and pull them down because they're going to be harder to move later once this is tied down. And you just pull your zip tie tight, cut it off however you cut. whatever tool you use for that. And there's your bow. Again, for the center, you're just going to staple like right on the edge of the ribbon so it holds it down but doesn't completely block off your pathway. So I'm only getting half the staple on this ribbon, and that's okay. And then on the inside ribbon, I'm doing the same. I'm only getting about half the staple on the ribbon. So that I have space. Pass a zip tie through. And sometimes they don't like to go through. There it goes. Make sure your zip tie is facing the right way. Wrap it around. You can lay a pipe cleaner in here at this point. That way you know you've got it for whatever you're using this to attach to, whatever you're going to put this bow on. Then you're going to use your zip tie gun or whatever and cut it off. It's that simple. I push my ribbon in the middle, the center knot ribbon. I push that together a little so it gives it a different look. And then you fluff up all your loops. Pull things out to the side, fluff things up, put everything where you want it to be. And that is it. You got your two cutie patootie little bows. Super adorable. These can be used for gift baskets, for gifts, like a lot of people do like gift displays, like where they put fake presents under the tree, or at businesses they'll set some fake presents around, things like that, for decoration. These are good for that, these little ones. Just continue to pull it and shape it till it looks like you want. And that's it. Two little, I guess I should turn those around, that's probably upside down for you. Two little perfect little bows. Little puffball bows. Just, and after you get them attached to whatever you're putting them on, you can go back in and fluff some more. And spread some more. It's easier to fluff things when they're attached to something, because then it doesn't move around as much. It's easier to tug on it and pull on it and get it good and fluffed. But again, you can make these any sizes. They're super simple. Give it a try if you struggle with bow making. That way you know in advance all your loops are the same size. You don't have to worry about twisting and folding and get it in. You make all your loops ahead of time. You can use your bow maker, or if you can hold it in your hand, you use your hand, or you can use, do two sets of loops together, put a clip on it, do another 2 sets of loops, put a clip on it, then they're already scrunched and ready to go. However you need to do it. I mean, this was just a little $2 stapler from Walmart. It's that simple. Alright guys, thanks for watching.